G'day, I'm Lukey and I'm a Streamaholic.
And hello, I'm the Warship and I'm a Streamaholic. And today, welcome to Streamaholics.
Look at my dumb face.
All right. Man, I had half a bite of a burrito left. That's why it took a few seconds to get started there. I had to smash down food before we started today. But welcome in, everyone. How are you doing?
Welcome.
Hopefully you're having a bloody fantastic day today. How are you doing there, Lukey?
Pretty good. I think I'm a bit still in work mode at the moment. I'm kind of a little bit like I've come and sat down here and things are quiet. The family's in the other rooms and I'm like, I don't know. I feel a bit weird probably because we had the week off too. Because we'll just get back in the swing of things. We've had the week off. So how are you feeling this week anyway?
I was so sick.
Better now, mate? Or
I was so sick. I'm still coughing like a fair bit, but I couldn't move. Like I took a whole week off streaming and everything. And in our world, the whole week is like a year. It was pretty rough. So we're back now, and I've had a week's worth of streaming. I took 1 day off extra than I usually would, just because I needed a little bit more of a rest. And
fair enough too.
Honestly, my schedule's a bit weird at the moment. I don't really like Thursdays anymore, but Thursdays used to be a really good day, but now they kind of suck for Twitch overall. And we're going to get into all that kind of stuff because, you know, we have seen a lot of ups and downs in this year alone, and Twitch does continue to trend downwards as well as Facebook and YouTube as far as the actual average viewership. It's still better than it was like last year as well. So it's a bit of a weird time. I think a lot of people are going through it, but you know, at the same time, I think at least I feel a little bit better at the moment as far as don't feel refreshed, and things are in no way amazing, but I don't know. It's all a little bit about perspective at the moment. I think that's a big part. So
okay.
Yeah, I think having the right perspective is going to help, I think, a little bit more than I've let it help in recent times. So, I apologize there, Mash you. I know you got sick not long after I had been sick. You know, very clearly my fault, even though you live in a different part of the world to me. It's still my fault, absolutely.
These new viruses in 2022, pretty powerful stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, hey, it's nothing that a couple of drinks won't fix. It's nothing that a little bit of alcohol. Don't take my advice. I'm not a doctor, but, you know.
A little bit of alcohol. That's okay.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, we always do that here. We always sit down, grab ourselves a beer and enjoy the show. So hopefully you guys do. What are you drinking today there, Luke? Are you onto the cruiser today?
Back on the Jacks. Back on the Jacks again.
You didn't have to drink that cruiser in the end? Okay. That's okay. I wasn't sure.
I'm pretty sure I did.
I just didn't do it on camera. Fantastic.
No, polish that off during the week.
Yep. No, that's all right. That's okay. No one will ever know. No one will ever know that you drank the cruiser. It's all right. Your secret is safe with me. It's fine. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about today, and we also have very little to talk about. It's kind of like a double-edged sword when it comes to this week on streams, because some stuff has happened and some stuff that potentially affects, you know, a lot of people, because, you know, we've got a new player. Well, not really a new player, but more of like a new challenger has appeared. Just like in Street Fighter, we definitely have another big gun that we actually predicted about 6 months ago. We predicted that if they actually started to take it seriously, it could be a little bit of a game changer. It still feels like it could be, because honestly, if you look at revenue, it's TikTok, right? If you look at revenue, If you're looking at revenue, TikTok is one of the bigger ones as far as potential to make money. Like, I've got friends who they do the TikTok battle thing, where they get into they do like a duet with another streamer, and they're both live at the same time on TikTok, and they get into a battle about who can get the most donations. And they're like, all right, you donate quickly, guys. You don't want me to lose to this person. And I know that some of those people can make anywhere up to $25,000 in a week. So like there is some real super ridiculous potential earning there. That being said, I've also seen TikToks explaining that people make $25 a day doing very similar, doing like their videos that get 1 million views. So it's a little bit hit and miss, I think. But one thing that is here to actually fix all of that is that they're now offering a live subscription service. So yes, just like Twitch, just like YouTube, you can now subscribe to channels and pay a monthly fee. And then get your exclusive content through the live. I don't actually know what it entails at the moment. I don't know if you've seen much of that yet, like what you get for being a subscriber.
Yeah, it was mentioning that you get like emotes and stuff like that, the same as you do in Twitch chat as well for being a subscriber too. So little cool things that you can show off in the chat, and of course the subscriber only sort of videos that you could do for your subscribers to help reward them as a creator. So similar sort of stuff. That's cool.
Those things always shit me. Like going into someone's stream and seeing subscriber only immediately makes me click off. Like if I'm in a situation where I go into that, but at the same time, I see the appeal too, because there are plenty of people who, that's sort of how they reward their community. And who am I to judge that? That's not for me to say is good or bad. So if it works for them, it works for them. And what else can we say? But when it comes down to it, the most important part of the story really is that, yes, you get incentives now through TikTok. You can live stream it. And funnily enough, you can actually live stream TikTok simultaneously as Twitch, because as long as you're not showing the camera is here and it's got video playing of me playing the game on screen, it's fine. So I could have it set up here and be like, hey, look, I've got no pants, but you can still see my grundle maybe a little bit, but there's nothing lewd, like nothing sexy, like sexual about it. It's just, it's just a man's balls in some underpants. And, I could be making like subscription money there talking to Twitch chat, who don't know that my balls is out, and it's, you could say, well, if you want to get the exclusive balls, just go over to TikTok, because there's
that was one question I had. Like, with the live streaming, you can't make it appear on TikTok. It's not the same game screen that you would have on Twitch, but you can.
Well, you're not streaming the same content, Okay,
so loophole around sort of Twitch's T's and S's.
Yeah, because like say I'm playing Minecraft or whatever, like on Twitch, and I'm sitting there and I'm building a giant willy because that's all we ever seem to build in that game. But, we're building something there that's not showing on my screen at all, like at all. It's just me, pulling like the fucking face like they pull on TikTok. And that's sort of how you get around that whole thing. So, yeah, there is definitely a lot of credence to it, especially for those creators who maybe do capitalize on people watching them stream for different reasons. The people who are there to watch someone because they think they're sexy or because they offer them something physically, those streamers, fucking little feet cam or something on TikTok, like, that'd probably go off if you had that running at the same time. One of those cameras where you can see daddy shippy stepping on you, one of those cameras at the same time would probably go off. And, if you're getting live subscriptions at the same time, then potentially, depending on what you do, within the realm of social media and content creation, you could be earning twice the amount of money from two different communities entirely. Because I know for my instance, most people who watch my streams, a very small amount of them frequent TikTok. So, it would be a situation where it would be a whole different audience going and seeing you live there at the same time as your usual audience seeing you live here. So
yeah, absolutely. I think that's exactly why you would use TikTok, because and the same thing is when you're using YouTube or Facebook or re-streaming, like multi-streaming to different platforms. You're not necessarily, because it's very hard to do, you're not wanting your other community to go over to another platform. You're wanting to broaden your horizons and gain new followers and community members from that already on other platforms. So it makes sense. It's just interesting that it's a really interesting thing. I wonder how many people are going to take advantage of that Given that it's a little bit different. I know I've seen a lot of streamers obviously that have like dual cameras already set up, so it'd be interesting. Like they could easily just chuck in another GoPro somewhere. It's on a different angle with if you the more creative you get with things that you can see in the background, like maybe over on the side over here that can only be seen from the TikTok camera. I don't know, different things that are happening on both of them. Yeah, that'd be a way to try and convert some of your Twitch viewers over to TikTok. But I think in general, it's just about trying to get onto some of these other platforms that are a little bit smaller and maybe have better algorithmic setups.
Yep. Yeah, well, like one of my favorite people to watch, only because I really respect how their streams look, is BB Jess. And BB Jess has one of those little handheld devices that it has a macro keys on it, but it looks like a Nintendo, like a Wii controller, but it has macro buttons on it. And like they have constant camera changes as they're talking and singing and doing the whole thing, but they just keep tapping it and it goes to like different things. You know, there's one in a pot plant, there's one behind, there's one in front, there's one above. And you could easily source one of those to be just a permanent cam for TikTok, you know. And because they're all decent quality cameras, they're not using, you know, like their Logitech C922 or something. Like they're using like proper DSLR cameras on every angle. No matter what you do, you get a decent like quality feed out of it. So yeah, it would make a lot of sense to do that, I think.
Yeah. Ariel's just said, I want a fisheye lens cam. That'd be another interesting way to have something like different on the other platform.
Yeah.
One touch on my forehead. So you couldn't do that though, could you? You couldn't have like a dickhead camera on your forehead because it's showing you the game content, obviously. Then.
Yeah, and at that point you would just be restreaming your own stream because it would be showing your view from there. So, like, and you can't show you playing a game on a platform where you're already playing a game, like, you know, like that, because that's against the rules that Twitch have in place for restreaming content, because it becomes the same content. Whereas if the camera was inverse or one of those 3D cameras and it just showed mostly you, I think that would be fine. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think that it's only good. We've got some people who currently use things like Coffee or Patreon as these alternatives like we spoke about last week. And that's a good one, but none of those really expand your like potential audience. Whereas something like this legitimately will. Because, you know, if they see, you know, they come on, they're like, oh yeah, fucking look at Shippy go with he's got his grundle out. Well, fucking where can I see the rest of his content? And I'm like, yeah, man, just come over to Twitch, you know, twitch.tv, have like a permanent scroll above, like on the top of it, just saying like the Twitch link the whole time. And for me, like that's exactly how you should market it if you're doing that. I don't have 1,000 followers on TikTok because everyone hates my TikToks. But, you know, if I had 1,000, I would already be doing it.
So there is the limit, same as like YouTube. So you have to have 1,000 before you can access
the live function.
Okay, yeah. Right. Gotcha. I'm old. I don't really know a lot about TikTok. and I tried it out a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, I post consistently when I'm in the mood for it. Like at the moment, I've gone back to sort of 3 TikToks a day, and you know that's the sweet spot from what they tell us. So, you know,
that's pretty good. 3 a day.
Yeah, it's hard, but you know, I've also given myself a pretty wide breadth when it comes to content I haven't released yet in a while. You know, as far as there's been a lot of clips that I just never put anywhere because I cracked the shits with short form media and stopped doing it. So now I've got a decent little supply that I can go through. And
so you're mostly updating clips from your live streams over on there?
Yeah. And then
you're not doing like TikTok dances or something like that.
No.
It's related to your Twitch content.
Yeah, and you know, I'll eventually do things like instructional stuff, whether it's in games or if it's to do with streaming or whatever it is. But it's so congested that you really have to find like a good niche there. And if you don't find one, like some of my videos do pretty well, some of them just do shithouse. And there's a lot of inconsistencies there. But if you can get even a little bit cracked in it, all of a sudden you're getting people over. Like I have a mate who used to stream on Twitch and has predominantly moved exclusively over to TikTok now, and they have something like they just hit 1 million views overall, which gives them access to another section of TikTok that you don't get to before that. But it also gives it also, I think they've got 80,000 followers or something like that. So they've got a decent sort of group of people, and when they go live, because there are so many already following, when you scroll, you'll see that live come up. So as someone who had maybe 24, if he's lucky in Twitch stream chats, he now has 150, 170 in his TikTok streams. And he's doing the same shit he was doing there. It's just because he's got a wider audience, it's getting there. So, but yeah.
If you can crack some of these other platforms, and I when I first TikTok only sort of started when I was doing a lot of content, a lot of streaming back a couple of years ago, and I'd started trying to do the TikTok. So I was doing it wasn't clips, but it was in costume and very heavily edited stuff where I was trying to keep it gaming related, but trying to make some funny sort of jokes out of 30-second, 60-second videos.
Yeah,
got a couple of them banned a couple of times with some of the videos because we're in spandex, but
yeah.
Spandex and thrusting, if you're a male, you're not allowed to do it. But, but anyway, side note, after all that effort, I'd only get 100 views or something like that on a video. No matter how much effort I put into it, I was putting so much time into trying to make a video a day or so back in those days. And then someone that was like a friend of ours put a video of her partner in the kitchen cooking some spaghetti, and she walked up to him and said something, and he was getting and it was the first video. They just made a TikTok account just to upload this one video. It wasn't even that funny. He was just standing there in his shorts in the kitchen, and it had tens of thousands of views immediately. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I've been putting so much effort into it. But yeah, it's just
it can be demotivating.
I knew right then.
Yeah.
I knew right then it was a platform that I just don't understand yet.
It can be very demotivating, and I look at things like my Instagram, for example, and over there on the Reels, I get pretty decent views on every one of them. It's sort of rare for one to be sitting in the double digits because, none of them do. Literally none of them do. But I can go straight to TikTok on the same videos, and so there's at least 2 in my current TikTok rotation that have 3 that have less than 100. And example, one of them has 86 views, and on Instagram has nearly 3,000. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. I'm about to upload the same 3 videos I uploaded to TikTok and Instagram over to YouTube to see if there's any difference between YouTube Shorts, because you have to kind of find where your people are,
and you might as well, if you're uploading those little short form videos, you might as well just chuck it on a shorts channel there as well, and just keep posting all 3. And you never know. You might not see any traction on any of those platforms, or one of them that you try out for 6 months, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, it just might do something. So,
and that's the big thing. Honestly, that's the biggest bit of general advice that I can give pretty much everyone when it comes to their streaming is that do it everywhere. Do it absolutely everywhere. Whether it's on, YouTube, or whether it's on any of the platforms we've already mentioned today. I've said it heaps, but I was watching a Hot Ones episode, and the guy on that said you should have your fingers in every pie, every single pie. You should have them in, blogs and podcasts and YouTube and everything, because that's the way that if you throw enough shit. Actually, Posty said it today on Hot Ones. He said if you throw enough things against the wall, something will eventually stick, and you just keep throwing shit at the wall. And hopefully, eventually, it will hit what it needs to hit to stay there. So, it's I don't know. I see a lot of benefit to it for people. So I do definitely advise that if you are a streamer at the moment, or if you're considering becoming a streamer, or if you just enjoy, like, even if it's not to be a career, even if it's just to be a fuck around, get into everywhere. Like, get to TikTok. Even if you don't have 1,000 yet, aim for 1,000. Just start posting. Post your 3 videos a day. Post your 2 videos a day. Whatever it is that you're comfortable doing. And they don't even have to be much. Like, I could literally do one right now and just say, hey, I'm live right now on Goa. Come check us out. We're doing a podcast where we're talking about TikTok live. And that would all be all I have to do. And it might hit, it might not. But that's sort of the game. So
as long as you're consistent, as long as you know that you can consistently do something, to do it, like chuck it in the rotation, make sure you can make a plan. Sit down, and if you can say, oh yeah, I could definitely do 3 short form videos per week, then per day, or even one a day.
Mm-hmm.
I guess with TikTok, you're supposed to post as much as possible.
Yeah, it's definitely about that. Yeah, but yeah, if you can do it, do it. Like, I sat there last night because I took a night off stream, predominantly for my mental health, but also because I was like, let's make some content. Let's do something. Let's make a YouTube video. And I sat down and I looked at myself and I'm like,
why are we still here?
I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know what to make. I have no idea what to do at all. And it led to procrastination, and it led to doing nothing. It led to me just like sitting there and doing nothing. And then eventually we started to put some work into the TikTok stuff later on the night. We've made a few new memes for the channel. I've got a new emote, which they've been spamming in the chat earlier, which is my Mortal Kombat, my Toasty Dan Forden
Shippy.
That thing appearing in the chat as well. So, we got some stuff done. We also had a couple of other memes, which I haven't revealed anywhere yet, which will be coming up when I come back to streams this week, including probably the most cursed thing I've ever put on there. So even if you're not working, you still got to work. You still got to work. Like, I went through and I looked at my channel and I'm like, what have I not done? What have I been sitting here saying I'm going to do for months and just not done? And one of the things was, like, I haven't got an intro. I've got my my Dragon Ball one that comes up that shows me in the space pod and everything like that. I've got that one, but it's not really an intro. It doesn't have like the hype and, let's see what Shippy's about. None of that shit at all. So we're working on that. Plus, at the same time, we're working on changing over the memes. Because one thing I did say is that I want to get all of the stuff that I've currently got on my streams, I want to make it me specific. So, we used to have Markiplier doing his, oh yeah, this is big brain time, that thing. And, it's funny, but everyone has it. So instead, we made
this is big brain time,
my version of it, and it's it's unique because it's me. No one else will ever have that. No one else will, unless I make it free to access at some point on like maybe I'll take all my green screen tech and put it onto a Patreon or something in the future, and then make that available to people who subscribe to a certain tier, But outside of that, it's not going to be for anyone else. I'm working on
I think that's really clever.
Well, I just want it to be like
your own meme.
Me, or like my mates. Like, we got the Lamborghini, which is my mate Wit, who came in and lurked earlier, which just has him in a little car that goes from one side of the screen to the other. And I just made that for no reason. But it's unique to the stream. It's not like Popcat or the stick dance or anything like that, like stick bug dancing. It's something different. And yeah, even if you can't create content that is like long form on YouTube, taking the time to work on short form is stupid important. And even the green screen stuff, I've put that up as, well, not as shorts, but as smaller videos on my YouTube because, why not? Why not just put as much as we can on there? Because the more you get out there, the more chances that someone might see it. So,
yeah. Absolutely. It's like buying lotto tickets. The more tickets you buy, the more chance you got of winning.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I've always sort of explained to people about what content creation is like.
I always talk about getting a lotto ticket, but I never end up doing it because I can never afford it. So, I never end up doing it anyway, but I get it. But then I'm like, well, how come I didn't win Lotto? It's like, well, because you didn't buy a fucking ticket, you stupid dickhead. Like,
Yeah, how come I didn't go viral on TikTok? Are you on
yeah,
TikTok?
because you didn't post on there. Yeah, exactly right. And, you know, so yesterday was a little bit of a bust for me, but rather than get depressed about it and just say, well, I'm not making anything, because there was a point where I was going to do that, where I'd given up, because I looked at like the stuff that I want to do and it doesn't really land anymore. Like I've tried to post it in the past and it doesn't land the way that it should, and it demotivates you. You look at YouTube and if there's videos, well curated videos that have taken me or one of my editors significant time to do, and it's got less than 100 views, why am I even posting that content, you know? So yeah, it gets hard to do that, and sometimes you do just have to kind of not do that, not put yourself in that position. So in those times, I definitely also recommend working on short form, because whether it's actual short form content for, you know, a social site, or if it's just stuff to improve your stream, you're still moving forward. And a lot of the time, I think content creators get to a point where they stagnate and they just don't move. And then they say, but why me? It's the meme. It's the shoot the guy on the chair meme. Why is the guy dead meme? Like it's that. Like it's dead set. Like, you know, if you do nothing, nothing will change. And
yeah,
like
it's absolutely an industry where you got to keep moving and try and keep up with what's going on instead. Yeah, like you say, instead of being stagnant. Having come from Facebook, I follow. I'm still not friends with, but like I follow a lot of people on Twitter and stuff like that are still part of the Facebook community. And even in the 2 years since I've been gone, knowing how an algorithm actually works, and you see a lot of Facebook people, it comes around in waves, and then you'll see a lot of creators going, oh, the algorithm on Facebook's busted. Like, you know, I used to get like 100 people watching me before, and now only 5 people get my notifications. And you see that cycle go around all these little smaller creators on Facebook all the time. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, like, do you know how an algorithm works? It means that you've come out of the algorithm somehow.
Yeah.
Which means that people have started to drop off your content,
yeah,
even just a little bit, and the algorithm's gone, people don't like this thing, but they like this thing over here, and started feeding them other things. So you've got to work out yourself, understanding that there's an algorithm, and go, oh, I've got to try something different now to start picking other people's interests so you can get back on that wave again.
exactly
I just
right.
don't understand people that don't. They just think that because they've got an algorithm once, that it's just going to continue to keep going. Like,
Yeah.
eventually, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, some people are going to get bored, and just that little drop off. Some of these algorithms are pretty finicky. As soon as that little drop off happens, they start pushing other people's content in front of those people.
And then you're stuffed, like when you get to that point. And that's kind of where we landed for a long time here on Twitch for myself.
Yeah.
And now we're diversifying it a little bit. We've changed up a lot of stuff, and we're continuing to improve the quality of the streams and whatnot. And that can only help. Like, this should work. Hello there, Gamma. Welcome. This should work right now. Let me test it. Right. Okay, cool. It does work. So this camera that worked for about a second. Come back. Excuse me, where have you gone? When it comes back, well, I'm just going to hold this here for a sec so it shows up. But this thing here, what it does is, it's weird, the button disabled for a second. Okay, there we are. So, very nice. So this is using the RMTP server that was set up for the streams, thanks to one of our mates, The Size, which allows me to do the IRL stuff. But to show you a little bit about what we do and how we change things, this is the office, right? Now, the office is a pretty big-ass room, but one thing that you'll notice is that it's obviously nowhere near finished. The walls are still half done. Well, the walls are actually finished, but down below that's not floor yet. The flooring I've just spent $500 on is right there. That is like a shit ton of laminate flooring right there, just waiting to exist.
Yes.
But, you know, I saw Arion post before the concept of invest along with diversify. That Bestia said, but also invest. And that's a big thing too that a lot of streamers don't do. A lot of streamers don't take the time to invest what they make back into Twitch or into social media or content creation or whatever it is. That cost me cost me nearly $600 by the end of it once the underlay is paid for, because I thought I had a really good deal, and then it's all stuck in shipping containers, so I can't get that underlay. But once that's done, in the next week, the floors will be in. Once the floors are in, we have a live podcast area pretty much ready to go. Once that's here, we can also do live videos. Like, we're getting the couch is moving to a different spot, which will allow us to then do, react content with friends. We'll be able to do the drinking stuff that we've been planning on. We'll be able to hopefully get a bar fridge. That's the next big one investment wise that I want to spend. But because I want to get an open glass bar fridge so I can advertise brands, like Gamer Sups or, alcohol brands around the area, whoever it might be, take local alcohol businesses and be like, hey, I run this platform. It does pretty well. Why don't we just get a couple of your drinks and put them in this fridge here? And, I'll advertise it constantly, and we'll try new flavors and all that kind of shit, because that's thinking with my brain. Because then if I do that, they retweet it, other people come in. There's so many little things that people need to do, I feel, if they want to get this thing rolling. And yeah, you can't just do the same shit, like you really, really can't. And that's something that I've always prided myself on when it comes to content creation. So I don't know about you, like obviously your gimmicks are very different to most people's in a good way. Like what you do and what you've always done has been unique and special. And that is a big appealing part of watching your content and getting around your content. Whereas, as you diversify and grow the newer content, if it comes and when it comes, I would hope that it would be entirely different to begin with, that would be my hope, is that it would become familiar, but entirely different at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Like with my content, I've always just gone by the credos of that you have to be unique. So I'm always looking at, that was kind of my whole idea when I first started streaming, was coming up with an idea that I hadn't seen before and then just going nuts with it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm surprised that I haven't seen more people do it. Maybe it just doesn't work, but I haven't seen more people. I haven't seen anyone do that same idea yet, and I've been out of it for a couple of years. So, but anything that you can find to be unique and make yourself stand out. But then, yeah, diverse. Once you're in that and you start gaining some popularity and start developing your community and stuff, you really still got to try and stay on top of things and still trying to keep bringing unique things to the table. Because if you look at any of the top streamers, like. Not a lot of them stand still for very long. Like they're always still coming up with new ideas. And now you're sort of seeing a trend. I think I've really been noticing it. It was kind of started to talk about it about 12 months ago, I reckon. But now, further on down the track, I'm starting to see these big creators starting to create shows using their community that they've already built. But they're not just podcast shows like what we're doing, but like reality type shows that they're really going all in on and using their pull in the industry to get big brands on board for those shows as well. So they're starting to evolve the top tier of streaming and content creation, like right now as we speak. Really, you're seeing it happen.
Yeah.
Big.
What? I know you're talking about. Nothing happened. I love those little, like, slight little subtitles I add when you're doing a big screen talk. I think they're fun.
I had a few weeks ago when you started doing them, and then later on, or the next day, my wife was like, "Did you realize he was pulling the piss out of you?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, he's joking." I think he's joking. Just worried I was getting picked on.
No. But like, you're absolutely right. Like, yeah, it's the way that we approach streaming can't be. And look, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And don't care who we piss off, because we're bound to piss off someone no matter what we say and do anyway. But the people who complain about the titty streamers taking their views, you're stupid. Like, nobody cares about your Modern Warfare gameplay. Like they don't. As much as you'd like them to, and as much as you probably do, no one else does. And the big boober is not taking your views. Those people were never coming to your stream. Like the people who come to your stream, right. Amazing. Like they're the best, right? But the people who, you know, the 40,000 people watching Amaranth fist herself on Twitch, like those people are never going to be coming to watch you do some sick kill streaks, you know? Like never. They're not watching that. And that's just the truth of the whole situation. And like looking and talking about like looking in on ourselves and self-evaluation and all that shit is really important, because you can blame everybody in the world for why your streams aren't performing the way you'd like them to. But the reality is that you got to start with yourself, you know. And if that means that your content needs to change, if that means you need to update your setup, if it means you need to change your attitude towards streaming, whatever it is, the last person you can blame is somebody else. Like, you need to be looking at yourself first, in my opinion.
I'm sorry, you lost me. Everything after I did not hear a word.
Yep. No, you went to a certain place there. Yep. No, I understand.
Yeah. No. Okay. So yeah, like you definitely can't. Yeah, mindset. Funny that. This is why I don't things don't happen over here, because I keep getting sidetracked. Yeah, what was I going to say? I had a follow up to that, but yeah, you've kind of put me off there. But
something about not this, something different completely to that, not that.
No.
But talking about like self-actualization and like blaming other people doesn't make it work. You know?
So kind of the one point I was going to make there is like, yes, it's a really, really hard industry to exist in and to try and succeed in or have any success in it. Really, it's really, really hard.
Yeah.
So oversaturated. Well, we talked about that before. But there's not much you can do about it. Like, there's two things you can do about it. You can complain and keep failing, or you can change what you're doing. Like, what do you want to do? There's really only two choices. Like, there's no point in really having a big whinge about it, because, like, if it's something that's gone wrong with the platform, or like I said before, like maybe the algorithm's gone out from underneath your feet at some point, there's no point in sitting there going, oh, Facebook's effed or YouTube's effed because their algorithms disappeared. Like, YouTube's not going to come and go, oh, did your algorithm disappear?
Oh, no.
Here's a little bit more. Here's a bit of algorithm for you. Like, they're not going to change anything. You got to change it yourself.
Give you a morsel of algorithm, you know, just a tiny little snack.
More, please.
Yeah. And look, that's the thing is that at the end of the day, like, the content that I originally thought I'd be making doesn't work anymore, and it's not the content that will drive my brand forward. And upon realizing that, you kind of fall into a hole where you're like, well, what the fuck do I do now? You know, like, and that hole stays for a little while until you kind of figure out the next step. And we've got the next step. We literally are just waiting to do a few little things here before we can really branch that out. Over the next week, this whole background should transform. This whole ground area, all the shit that's waiting to come in this room should be here. Once that sort of happens, we will be looking at a different world. Like, I'm talking like smoke machines and more lighting and a bunch of stuff that is coming.
Flamethrowers.
Yep. Explosions. Like, but a lot of stuff that's coming will be useful and a hook, you know, because at the end of the day, you need a hook.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we've shown the video of the low energy streamer who just sits there and doesn't do anything. Like, that's not a hook. And as much as, you know, it's okay to just play, for those people, sometimes they will just dead ass quit the whole platform because they're like, well, why not me? And
yeah, because you got to kind of realize, like, you might watch some creators that have a big following doing just like they're really good at Call of Duty, and they sit there like Shroud. Shroud's a perfect example. He's like a beast gamer in first-person shooters, right? But he got there in an industry 8-9 years ago when he started out, where it was very, very small audience, and he was able to jump to the top of that and then ride the platform as it grew and find himself at the top. You can't just do that anymore. There is like millions of people just sitting there being very good at Call of Duty, and playing Call of Duty. Like, you've got to try things somewhere outside the box or a smaller platform or these TikToks or all these other things, because you can't be Shroud. Like, if Shroud started today, there's a good chance that he isn't a big streamer.
Oh, yeah, he'd be nobody. But if he didn't have any of the money that he's accumulated now, if he didn't have any of the tech that he's accumulated now, if he was just back at day one Shroud, he wouldn't go anywhere. It's the same as PewDiePie, the biggest creator, arguably, on the planet. If he tried to play Amnesia now and with a shit camera and that's it, he'd get laughed off of YouTube. Like he'd have no views. He'd have nothing there. And that's what I'm saying when it comes to like that side of the algorithm changing, because you can't, unless you're someone who has made their living off of bringing those games to the forefront, or you have a particular appeal that allows you to overcome that sort of baser entry level, you're not going to go further than where you are. You know, I see people all the time and they will be sitting like this and they'll be playing games and they'll like be upset. You know, like I come in, I'm like, yo man, what's going on? They're like, oh, hey Shippy man, how you doing, bro? No, I'm just playing some fucking Call of Duty with the boys. And oh, Shippy on the call. Nah, man, he's in my Twitch channel, bro. And like that's legit. Like I would say 60% of those kind of creators streams. Like you go into those creator streams and that's what they do. And if you come into my stream for the first time, I'm doing these ones. I'm like, hello, fuck are you doing, man? Like, you know, like, let's do it. You know, fucking go over here, grab one of these things and just fucking put some, oh yeah, fucking, you know, how you doing? Let's have a vortex before we start the thing. You know, like, because it's not me being over the top. It's just me being me and having a good time, because I'm genuinely happy when someone comes in for the first time that I'd never spoke to and they don't fuck off. Like when they come in and they hang out and then like an hour later they're like, oh man, what time do you usually finish? And I'm like, oh, you know, a couple of hours. And like, oh, sweet. I could be here for the whole thing, you know? And all of a sudden they're subscribed and then all of a sudden they're bringing their friends, and it's all because of that. It's the first thing, isn't it? It's the first impressions thing. It's exactly the same as in any other form of business. Like you gotta
quick, like there's stats, and you see it like other platforms, like how long people will hang around before they have that first impression and scroll to the next one.
Yep.
On Facebook, it was big. Like the actual meta on Facebook was to not have any intros and to be like, to start your stream talking to people because of the way that the platform works.
Yeah.
Obviously, because people are scrolling, they'll find your thing. And if they just see a stream starting like
screen
on their screen when they scroll, they're just scrolling on.
Yeah.
So the meta there is to make sure that you don't have an intro and that you're already like, maybe start halfway through a fucking game if you're playing say like
a shooter or something. Yeah.
Start halfway through the game where the action's happening, and so people's attention spans are really short. So yeah,
you're trying to hook them as quickly as possible, aren't you? Like you're trying to hook them from the very, very, very get go.
Yeah, and it can be hard because if you're doing like a 4-hour stream, and like because there's lurkers too, like there's people that don't say hello when they enter your stream too. So you got to think about those people all the time too. So it's hard, but 4 hours or however long you're going to stream for every night that you do stream, and you got to always be thinking about like making sure that there's something happening most of the time, because when someone drops in for a lurk for 10 seconds, you want to probably have something happen in that 10 seconds. It's really hard, but you got to be thinking about these things, eh?
Yeah, and look, that's kind of how it works over here as well, because like if someone's lurking, they tell you they're lurking, awesome, but there'll be 10 that won't tell you. There'll be 20 that won't tell you that they're lurking. So you have to sort of be a little bit attentive. You know, I have a 5-minute starting soon stream, but when I have my screen I can't really show because I actually use this one to I edit this one every week. I don't keep this saved. I actually full make it every time we do this. But my intro screen has like my media share playing, because I am one of those people who doesn't have any audio on their VODs because they have all their audio removed from the music side of things. So, you'll hear me talking on my VODs or on my clips, but there'll be no sound behind me. And I do that so that when it comes time to, it's for the live experience for me. Like, the content that I roll is for the live experience. So, we come on, we're listening to Hyper Hyper by Electric Callboy. Everyone's having a good time. They're requesting their music. Everyone's bouncing along. The chat's rolling because people are spamming emotes and all that kind of stuff before I even start. Most of the time I'm doing shit. Most of the time I'm late. Like very late, and I'm like, oh no, man, is my stream raiders open? Oh no, is all these things working? Oh, quick, we better test an alert. Oh shit, can we push this button? Make sure that works. We're constantly kind of going through and I'm like before we start, and then I'll log on and I'll be muted for like 10 seconds because I'm a stupid idiot, and that's all part of the fun of the whole thing. But yeah.
Did you ever just after that? Did you ever, when you very first started, right? And I don't know how long you had like not many people watching. Did you ever have a stream where you went 45 minutes, an hour, like with no sound before someone dropped in and said, "Oh, hey, you got no sound"?
Oh yeah, the worst I ever did was like a good like 20 minutes of no game sound, but music playing and my voice still play because they tell me they like to tell me. Yeah, no,
I was say you're not a streamer until you've had like when you're first starting out, when you got nobody watching and you can sit there for like I probably did it the first time I did it for probably a good hour.
Oh, jeepers!
I was streaming with no sound at all.
I'd cry.
And someone finally dropped. I think I was playing Battle Royales at the time and I had a win, so I did like a clip where I had me.
Yeah, but there's no.
I was doing the voiceover and the text over for the clip, but. Yeah, I always say that you're not a real streamer until you've had a stream where no one's told you for an hour that you got no audio.
That's amazing.
It happens in the early days. Everyone's got to go through it.
I was very lucky in the sense that when I first started, I had a pretty decent audience sort of almost immediately. Like we started off with like, I think my first stream had 8 and then it went from 8 to like 20 and then it went to 30. And then it pretty much never really dipped below that. Yeah, cool. It's kind of gone up from there. But that being said, like I make a lot of live mistakes. Like I make a lot of live mistakes that people just won't correct because they think it's hilarious. Like I'll go to like I'll roll something, like we'll roll the intro or we'll roll something that requires there to be no sound, whether it's something stupid like this stupid thing. We'll roll something like that, and then I'll come back and I'll still be muted, and I'll be talking, and people will be like, "You're muted, idiot, you're muted." Yeah. And it'll take me a good like 20, 30 seconds before I even notice it. And, that happens all the time. And that's part of it. It is.
Just, you gotta roll with it. It's funny.
Yeah. And look, I think my most viewed clip on Twitch itself at about 1,800 views is me talking about a microphone I'm selling and then going like.
I think I've seen this one.
And actually muting it and not being able to take it off. Legitimately, the same thing just happened. But yeah, I think that kind of stuff is what people think is funny. That being said, I'm pretty sure that was put on live stream fails, and that would explain why it kind of went the way it did at the time. But yeah, like we do oftentimes. Sometimes shit just won't work. I'll be sitting here and I'll be like, "All right, let's push this button. This button I've pushed every day since I started streaming, and it just nothing happens." I'll go to like high five, and they'll be like, where it should be like, every time. I'd be like, "Oh, pull the foghorn, Shippy, okay." Instead of the there'll always be those moments when OBS stuffs up. I even have an emote just for it that has like OBS errors that show up because like there are times where, especially early on with the streams, And as we kind of grew even, where we started to do more stuff and more stuff and more stuff, where my stream would just shit itself, like completely just shit its pants and not work anymore. And like, it didn't make any sense, but all of a sudden I'd be offline and people are like, okay, well, OBS is stuffed again. Cool. Good job, Shippy. And I think a big part of streaming is being able to roll with those punches and make things work the way that you want them to.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, so as far as like news goes, we do have other things to cover. We've kind of been rambling, which we have been a little bit lately because, it's not that there's no news. It's just that the news hasn't been super
newsworthy.
very, very newsworthy. There are a couple of things to note from last week when I was unwell, which we could probably get over and talk about soon. I did want to really briefly mention, because it is not confirmed yet, but one of my favorite content creators, Jay Schlatt, the guy, he does a lot of Minecraft stuff. He also does a lot of review stuff. He's pretty big on the platforms. He's pretty big on YouTube. Every Twitch stream has a good 70 to 100,000 people. He recently, on a live stream, he banned over 100,000 people in one go. He wrote a script, or one of his mods wrote a script.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
and
that's that guy.
That guy, yeah.
Was, but I've seen this.
The one who it removed any reference to the Dream SMP. So anyone whose name had in it, or was here, or Dream, or like eats pants, or any reference to any of those streamers, if your name on Twitch had that in the title of it, you were banned. And like, he's watched it, he runs the script, and it was legitimately over 100,000 people, and he's just like, get fucked, never come back again. But he banned 100,000 people in a second, and that's wild to me. So he's obviously got he's got it, he's part owner of OTK, which is a really big content creation team. And the big thing that has come out over the last sort of 24 to 48 hours is he's claiming that he's bought GamerSupps. And for those who don't know, GamerSupps is, I would say, the closest number 2 to G Fuel on the market. Like, you have G Fuel, and then you have GamerSupps, and then you kind of have everybody else. That being said, Ghost is now probably got to be number 2 because of FaZe Clan. But before that happened, I would say that GamerSupps would be. And now he's claiming that he owns it. He's so. Wow. And now, if that's the case, that's a massive move. Like, this guy had nothing but success this year. Like, he recently came back to Twitch after having a massive break, and that first stream back was the one where he banned 100,000 people. So,
wow,
he's really really doing a good job. And for GamerSupps to be a thing that he's acquired now, it's only good for other creators, because he's pretty good when it comes to looking after people in the industry and in the sphere. So it might be a conversation for a lot of smaller creators soon to get in touch with GamerSupps, if that's the case. I know that if they open up the conversation a little bit more, that'll be one of the first things I do, will be to message them directly. So there will be more on that as it develops over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I think so. I
always like hearing about these big creators that buy into business and get involved, whether it's in the gaming industry itself or outside of it. Like, they're setting themselves up early and using their money wisely for after streaming when it all ends, or you never know when it might go away.
I mean, I would not think that a gaming supplement place would close anytime soon, and
no.
Make the bag now, make the money now, and then if it dies, then you've made the money. And, then if you don't make any money anymore, it's fine as well, because you've already got everything you need. But these people, they all have excess of millions of dollars anyway, but it's more about having a lead into the future, and growth from there. So some of the smaller ones definitely drop away. They're straight, like Quantum, which was unfortunate for everybody who had an affiliate deal with them. But typically speaking, I would say that Ghost, G Fuel, and GamerSupps would be the 3 that I would probably expect to not die. And in Australia, it would be Juiced. because they have a very they've got a good lead in and a good grasp on the local market when it comes to their creators, making sure they got the right people and they're backing the right things. So I think there's a big future for those guys too. But yeah, I just find it really interesting to see these streamers making big moves. Like you posted one last week about Amaranth buying a private jet, which to me is wild. And this is the second time Amaranth has been in my mouth, so maybe you should talk about her for a minute.
Okay. So Amaranth. Let's find this. We've talked about her buying like stocks and she's basically just buying everything at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And splashing her cash around. I said cash.
Good.
She's finished doing the other splashing.
Oh fuck!
She's going back. To
and I got in trouble for fisting. All right.
So, but part of this buying the private jet was really interesting as well because she's not only buying the private jet, it ties directly into, like I was saying before, like shows.
Yeah.
And so she's got a show apparently called Streamer Royale, which is a kind of like a little reality game show with content creators, and she's going to be using the private jet for that content. So it's an upcoming. I'm just reading a little bit of it now. It's an upcoming Twitch show with some huge names attached: XQC, Emaru, Alinity, Moist Critical, and more. She plans to take her show to the next level with what could be her craziest purchase yet, a private jet.
Yeah, okay.
So interesting. All these bigger creators that are jumping on the this idea that shows is the next thing, I think, in content creation. They're kind of leaving behind just the sitting around playing video games like everyone else. They're starting to move on to real proper entertainment, and that's not just her. We talked about the other reality shows a couple of weeks ago with the streamers, the YouTuber on YouTube and the FaZe Clan one as well, like just other videos. I've seen shows that have been quite popular where they've put streamers in a house for a weekend and they're just partied really, but everyone likes watching the reality shows with people that they that have a big following that they look up to, so it's always interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the cats amongst the pigeons.
Well, I think that there's a big future in the idea of game shows. A lot of the content that I watch is sort of related to that. And there are a lot of creators who pretty much only do some form of game show, whether it's like a Twitch dating one, which has been around for yonks, or something like Bed Wars as well, like the Minecraft ones, where they have Hunger Games and things like that in there as well. And there are just a lot of different variations. I've even run one. We ran one called Shippity a couple of weeks ago, which was like a Jeopardy variant, and it was fun, and it got decent viewership, and there's definitely a lot of credence to it being the next sort of meta. But at the same time, as someone who's done one, they take a lot of work. Like they take a lot of extra stuff to make work, and it is so much easier just to sit in front of a TV and sit in front of a computer and be like, all right, boys, let's play some games. And even though it's not as entertaining, you can sort of make as big a splash. And this touches on something that I have been talking about for a while and I've wanted to elaborate on for a while, and that is when do you decide that making a couple of $100 on a Twitch platform on a day is more important than making sustainable content that will last and grow financially over time? So, if you drop a video on YouTube that gets, a few 100,000 views, all of a sudden you're making that kind of money anyway. And when do you decide to say, okay, well, rather than kill myself every night on Twitch, streaming for 6-7 hours and not really making any other content because all I'm doing is sitting there and vaping and drinking and playing video games, or do I use that time more creatively to actually go and build a bit of a backlog and a bit of a legacy over on YouTube? Because at least that way that you will attain a passive income like we've spoke about before. And it's difficult to have that answer. Like, exactly right. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? Do you lose the hit of like actually making money guaranteed enough? You
Yeah.
know, I say guaranteed, but you have to be at a certain level where you can expect to make a little bit of money from a stream anyway. But if you are at that level, which, you know, people are like, well, I'm thankful to be at that level where we can make a decent amount of money on a daily sort of basis if we really go in with it. But do you do that and then never create content that has a longer lasting impression? Or do you say, well, I'll stream 3 days a week instead of 5, and then I'll use 2 of those days to create content that lasts, knowing that those 2 days you don't stream, they're finding another person to watch. Like, and then slowly but surely, that person streams 5 nights a week, so they're not in your stream anymore because they're watching the other person 5 nights a week. And then you lose your market share slowly but surely, and then you feel like you hit rock bottom. And that sort of becomes the mindset that happens, you know, like, and nobody owes you anything as far as viewership goes. But you do kind of wonder that if you take the time to work on other shit, will that in turn mean that the people who were there just kind of leave because they've got other priorities that appear because you leave a hole in their life?
Yeah. So, yeah. So the way I would think about that, and there definitely is a hit that would be taken for that. But the way I look at it would be like as a long-term plan of like, do you look at? I'm not talking about Warship in particular here. I'm talking about anybody that might be on some sort of level where you're, even if you're making $100 or $200 a month off of Twitch, whatever you've gotten to, where you're making some coin, like semi consistently. You know, there's going to be some paycheck at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Whether it's $100 or $1,000, whatever it is. Do you think that your stream can make it just on Twitch to the level that you have in your mind about where you actually want to get to in terms of a full-time job? Is it just a part-time wage or a minimum wage that you're looking to do, or not? Because the way I've always looked at it is like you need content on these other platforms. Not just, I've spoken about algorithmic purposes before for these other platforms and not Twitch, but like I would always say, if you're streaming 50 hours a week, stream 30 hours a week. You would, if you're right now earning some money, you would take a hit.
Yeah.
And it's not a hit forever if your goal is to reach more people with content that's everlasting on another platform. So you have to have the confidence in yourself to go like, look, 6 months, 12 months, I'm going to drop down to 3 days. You have to be able to take that financial hit, which can be difficult, as we talked about before. With people like yourself that are doing this for a living, like this is your job. So for you, you're in a hard spot now. I think that's where you're finding it really hard to make that decision. If it was someone who had a full-time job and was kind of making a little bit of coin on the side, but wanted to turn that other thing into the content creation world into their main thing, I would say definitely, like drop down your streaming hours. I would even say these days, maybe if it's a hobby and you love streaming, stream. But if you're wanting to go, oh, I would love to make content creation and gaming my career one day, I would even say to start with, don't stream. Just make content on other platforms. And if it's streaming might be the end goal of like, I want to try and create something, like I've got this unique idea for a YouTube channel. I'm going to put 6 months in 3 videos a week or 2 videos a week, wherever it might be. And I want to get to the point where I can add streaming to that on other nights or later on. Like I would actually look at it these days, if you're starting out, the other way around. Because I do think that streaming, just going live on Twitch and even the other smaller platforms, even if they do have what I consider way better algorithm and better chance of being seen if you put consistent hours in there, I still do think that they're still extremely hard to crack because of the amount of people that are just turning on their camera and their PlayStations and streaming these days. It is super hard. So I always feel like these days, and even when I started streaming, I still think it's probably you're more likely to succeed with a unique idea, creating a content for like a YouTube, for as an example, or a TikTok or whatever it might be these days. But YouTube's like the main one. And then adding streaming later to that once you've gained an audience. Because your streaming can always dip and disappear and come back, or it might be special events. If you're and you don't have to have as much of a schedule if you've got videos. You know, you can do it on your own time as long as they come out when they're supposed to come out. It's not like have to be there all the time, 60 hours a week, running myself into the ground. And you know, it's very, very hard. I think the streaming game. I think I think that's the one thing to really, really ponder if you're starting creating or you've been creating for a little bit, and you're wanting to know how you're going to make it to the next level. I'd seriously consider doing something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've even thought about it with my content.
Well, I agree with you entirely. We are working on it right now in diversifying the content ourselves and creating new sustainable content. But it's not as simple as just doing it, because the reality is that a lot of these creators who do find success, they have a team of people who, you know, I was watching Asmongold the other day, and as Asmongold is sitting there talking about the Johnny Depp case over on his YouTube channel, within the time of streaming, his team were taking clips and moments from the stream, the active stream, and uploading them to YouTube. Like, so that was physically happening whilst the stream was happening. So, you know, a lot of these people who really, really make it big in this industry, they do have a lot of that sort of stuff going on as well. So you do run into issues as a smaller content creator that those people might not necessarily run into. So you do have to be aware that if you're trying to create content that, you know, is everlasting or at least lasts for a while, one big thing is that it's still time. It's still time, and not only that, but it's effort, because like I can do a ASMR audio stream where I talk about law or something, and I could do a YouTube video on that very easily. But then I sit down in front of the computer and I'm like, what do I do? And it's because you procrastinate about what you do. Because if I look at myself, I posted on Twitter the other day, I'm like, what do I do? What can I do? Because all I do is I'm the place you come when you want to have a good night. You want to have a good day. You come and you talk to the wholesome dude who's real nice, and we have fun and we talk. How is that marketable as a YouTube video? You know, I don't know how to make that into that kind of content. I enjoy what we do on Twitter, on Twitch, but I don't feel like that's transferable to the Red brand necessarily. So it's about then finding other content to do in those spots as well. And that can be difficult. And then learning things like editing and learning things like, you know, there are so many little things that I could do as far as content goes, but my problem is that if I typecast myself as a Destiny law person, or, you know, a Minecraft hardcore YouTuber, or, you know, a builder or something, like, all of a sudden, how many YouTube channels do I need? Because all of a sudden I'm making a YouTube channel for one thing, another YouTube channel for another thing, because it becomes desperate looking when you post different kinds of content every day, you know, and because people, YouTube particularly, they are beasts of nature. Like, they like to see the repetitiveness, you know, like you go to Jacksepticeye because, you know, every time you go into a video, you'll be like, top of the morning to you laddies, my name, blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, every time you go into one of his YouTube videos, you expect him to be in the bottom corner playing games and, you know, doing what he does. And the same with like your Markipliers and all these like bigger guys, you kind of have like an expectation. You don't see them doing like, you know, a book reading YouTube video, and then a cooking video, and then a gaming video. And, you know, you don't see them doing that. The only exception to that rule, I would argue, is PewDiePie. Maybe Markiplier when he did the Makes series, because he did a series there where he would get a couple of friends together and they would make food poorly. But outside of that, you go to those particular content creators for a certain thing. And when you don't know what that thing is, it can be incredibly hard to break in. Everyone's like, oh, make this kind. Go make YouTube. Go make YouTube videos. You know, okay. You know, like, what do you want to do? You know, like it's not as simple as that. It's like, go make a podcast. Okay. now what? You know, like it's not always as cut and dry as just, well, I have a cool community and we have a lot of fun on streams and we can have hundreds of people in there, but I can get 20 views on a YouTube video because it's different. It's not the same content. It's not what those people come to do on those streams, you know, and that's different.
And you stream, and if you are streaming and it's like and your YouTube happens to be like I'm streaming on Twitch and I really want to I want more people on Twitch. So that's why I'm going to make a YouTube. YouTube then would have to relate to your Twitch as well. So like yourself playing variety of games is going to be really, really, really hard. So
exactly right.
Like, do I become just a Minecraft person? So because then I'm going to have to because then you could choose a unique Minecraft idea for YouTube, knowing that when people come to your streams, but then you would be stuck like you're Minecraft.
I would have to play it. Yeah, I would have to play it always. Like, and the days that you don't play it are the days where nobody shows up because
and if you do it too often, people won't come back if that's what they expect.
Yeah, exactly right. So, and there are plenty of creators who I personally follow who I see do that, who will go through periods of time where they just won't play the game they're used to. And when they do that, their views are just gone. And then I see them go back and it's almost like they go back with their tail between their legs, back to their GTA or, you know, their Red Dead Redemption or whatever it is, because they don't have the market, because it's not about the streamer. It's about the game when it comes to their Twitch streams. And that's something I've always tried to avoid. But then how do I translate that into content onto other long form media? And that's really the issue that I think a lot of streamers of my particular streamer generation will find, because I came into streaming when the world was on fire, and I came into streaming where people just wanted to talk to someone. People just wanted a friend, and I'm that friend. And now they're back on their feet. They're going to see their friends in real world, and they're not there anymore. And you know, that journey has been awesome for me, but how do I then take that element of what I do and translate that to something that those people would want to watch for 10 to 15 minutes on YouTube instead of coming into the stream because they don't have time anymore? But, you know, you can still watch a YouTube video, you know?
So I think what you've mentioned before about what your plans are moving forward with the room. Yeah. It sounds like that sort of content you can start to make stuff that could be on a YouTube where it sort of captures that talking and community side of what you do without a game being played. So they still get that experience. And if it's about wouldn't even necessarily have to be about gaming, it's just about your personality and the people in your community on a YouTube with clips on other platforms with short form content as well. Of that sort of stuff drawing back to the Twitch. And you know,
and ultimately that's the kind of stuff that we will be doing. But it's it's like when I try to sit there and make something now, it doesn't work, and that's why. Like everything we've said, and I'm not just saying this, you know, we're not just trying to do like, let's have Shippy vent for an hour every time we stream, but like the stuff that I'm saying, you as the audience, if you're a streamer, I really do hope that you're seeing the perspective of me as you and not as me, because these questions are questions that you guys ask all the time. These are questions you guys ask me all the time. So I'm trying to provide a situation where I'm you, and you know, because I know a lot of you have the same fears and worries. It's like, what do I do? How do I make my content new and dynamic if it doesn't make sense in that content format? And like I wish that I had the answers for me as well as you, you know, like at the end of the day, like that would be awesome, but it's not as cut and dry. And one thing that people, I think, who came into streaming during the pandemic are now kind of starting to see is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you want to do something here, unless you actually make active change, it won't be what you want it to be. And I think a lot of people are finding that now, because we've gone through a period where a lot of people saw a lot of success early on, and now that's starting to fall off. And if they don't change, they will be those people in a year's time who have the 10 people in their streams and who do the same thing they always do. And there's a big fear of me doing that. That's why I went and spent so much money today, because we're doing this thing like this week because we have to. And it's I don't know. I guess it's not so bleak because we've got a lot of cool shit coming up. And not just me, but I mean for content creators in general. TwitchCon is just round the corner. We've got a bunch of new sort of events reopening, like PAX and whatnot. It's all coming back. People are going to be able to collab with more people a lot more often now in real life, because slowly but surely we're able to, breathe around each other again. And yeah, there's a lot of good coming out of it. I just think that if you get hard stuck in a certain role on Twitch, you might find yourself in a bad time. So yeah, I definitely recommend people sort of look at the examples we've shown over the course of the last couple of weeks and really aim to push past it. Get your short form content out there. Look at your long form content if it's something you think you can do right now. If it's not, see if there's an editor that may work with you that can help. Even going to somewhere like Fiverr, you can get pretty cheap editors there to do the kind of things you need to do. Just try. Like I said at the top of this whole cast today, Post Malone, man, just throw shit at the wall until something sticks. And you never know what will be the thing that will actually get you there. So just like when I first started streaming, I never knew that I would actually get success from it, but we just tried. And I think, I think that's kind of the message that I want to give when we come to sort of nearing the end of the conversation here today.
My last point on that was just like, I kind of feel like I come across as like this is too hard for anybody. Do not, like, this is going to be too hard. You won't make it.
Yeah.
You're going to fail. Like a Twitch, doesn't matter where you are. Like, I feel like I can feel that's the sort of vibe that I put off, but I'm excited. Given all of the stuff that I say about how hard it is and all of that, I understand that that's what the game is, and I'm excited to, that didn't work, and I might get down a little bit about it, but then I'm excited because of the new idea.
Yeah.
Like, it's those creative juices that keep flowing, that keep me in it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, with the show, with this podcast, is like, don't take it as like a huge negative, like you will not make it. There's too many people out there.
Yeah.
It's more of a like, get your juices flowing, get that unique content, come up with ideas. Like, if you're not doing that and brainstorming and writing things down and trying to come up with different things to try and crack the code, then you probably won't make it.
Yeah.
But if you're that sort of person and you enjoy that challenge and you're creative and you know that there's going to be ups and downs, and that's what we're trying to say, is just to make sure you're aware of all of this. And this is what it's like to be a content creator. That's what this show, I think, is really.
It is, yeah.
These conversations. It's just so you're aware that we're all in it. We're all doing this. And, it's just about trying to crack the code. We're all trying to crack it.
And look, the second I get the code, I'll tell you. It's like, there's no problem. The second I figure it out, we'll let you know, because there's no reason not to. I hate gatekeeping in every format and that it exists in. So if there ever is a way for us to definitively say, hey, do this and things won't suck, like, we'll do it. And ultimately, like, everything you've said there is right. Like, we can present both a very positive and a very negative outlook to what we do as content creators. But for me, this has changed my life. Like, this has given me purpose that I'd never had. Like, I as a wrestler, I had it. But even as a wrestler, it was like there was only so far I was ever going to be able to go. And before that, I was a carer, and before that, I worked a really good job. But it's been a good 15, 14, maybe 14 years since I've really felt like I'm achieving anything. And that's why streaming hits me so hard, because I legitimately felt like for a very long time that I was achieving something special and that I was doing something that brought worth to the world. And whether or not that's the case anymore is not really here nor there, but it's more about highlighting the fact that, yes, with great like success does come like a lot of gratification, a lot of personal gratification, like being able to sit there and go, fuck yeah, like these people These people tell me that they wouldn't survive the week without seeing me. And these people, I genuinely feel like I've helped them along the way. And they've helped me too. And yeah, there's a real special feeling that comes along with that. So it's not all like, oh, well, Twitch is doing this and they're taking too much money in there. And, it's not all that at all. Like there's some real positives to doing what we do. And I'm always excited for the next step. I'm always excited for the next day because every day that I come on, even if I can't be asked because I'm upset about yesterday's stream or something, once the camera starts rolling and once the intro plays, I'm all good. I'm all good. We're guns blazing. And I've got my friends around me, the people who care about me. They're here and they're listening or they're watching or they're playing along or whatever it is. So, yeah, don't ever feel like we're trying to scare anyone away from streaming because, like, this is the coolest shit ever. And anyone who tells you it's not, they are very jaded, I think. So they've gone through a longer period than me where nothing worked for them and they just hate everything. Because, yeah, at the end of the day, sure, things can be rough, but, man, they can be so cool too. So, and a lot of the experiences I've gone through, I would never have outside of it. You know what I mean? Like I would never have had half of these experiences not having gone through streaming. So, yeah.
It is. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
I've said it before, but like you've seen me in real life and how like I'm kind of shy in real life. I don't talk lots, but put me in front of a camera here, and usually I don't have like when I'm streaming. Obviously, there's no one else there. And I've found that I don't know. It's like I guess I did put on a mask. I was going to say it's like putting on a mask and being able to talk like you would want to out in the real world. For me, it's been like really. I don't even know what the words is, but like I kind of can be myself. But like I can't find myself being in real life.
Yep.
So for me, it's been really amazing in that sort of sense.
Like playing,
doing it, right?
Yeah, it gets out the parts of you that are, that are there, but they're a little bit latent. Like the parts that you might not necessarily show the world, but the second you get a chance to do it, you do it, and you do it well. I
couldn't do this on a stage with like even 30 people watching, but I could do it because I can't see anyone. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I found it really good.
Yeah. And it's perfect for those kind of people too. It is honestly, streaming's a big thing for introverts too. I really do find is that it really does help those people a lot. But yeah, I think that's a decent enough place to end off here because we have been speaking for a little while now. I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that we genuinely appreciate y'all who come through and watch what we do and listen to what we do and provide feedback. And, the ones who come with questions and stuff like that, we really do value that. And, sometimes there's a bunch of people in here, sometimes there's not. But I think that we do help those people who do hang out here when it comes to advice on streaming, advice on game stuff, how to interact with businesses and stuff like that. So if there's anything you guys want to talk about on the cast, let us know. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll be getting a couple of guests on. We need to confer on that. But I think next week we may have a guest on, which will be fun. And yeah, we'll keep you guys updated on all the socials there. So, and speaking of the socials, we'll do a quick one here. Let's do the wrap up. Let's do the wrap up there. Lukey, where can people find you on the internet?
I guess you could try looking for my name there, Lukey Bangers, with a Z because I'm cool on all the platforms. That's where you can find me at the moment. You might find me somewhere differently moving on down the track, but that's all secret sauce. I won't be talking about that. Warship, where can we find you, mate?
Oh, well, you can find me here. You find me on my own channel on twitch.tv/The Warship. You find me on Goa on the Friday nights. You can also find me in the Discord, which has been lovely put in there by Straight Jacket Jim. You can also find us, pretty much anywhere you find the words The Warship, whether it is on Twitter, Instagram. You find me there. Even if you don't search up The Warship on Twitter, you'll still probably find me. Even though my handle there isn't that, you'll still probably find me. Make sure you go check out the TikToks, because I've been doing a few of those lately. Check out the reels as well because they're pretty much the same thing, but the more views and likes, the better. Yeah.
Algo.
Oh, you have to. You really, really do have to. But yeah, for me, the Warship, and for you, Lukey Bangers, I'm a Streamaholic. He's a Streamaholic. And now everyone in the chat, you're a Streamaholic too. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great evening. And please do stick around for the raid. Have a good night, guys.
Hey legend, thanks for watching the show. If you want to make sure that you're up to date with all of the Game on Oz content here on YouTube, make sure you click the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.